Lockout timer defined. Swing doors, since their inception, have required means to prevent them from opening when a person is standing on the swing side of the door. In the early days, both activate and safety were accomplished with the use of mats. If the swing side safety mat was occupied prior to activation, the door refused to open. If the person stood on the mat after activation, the door would hold open until the safety mat was cleared. This method worked well because the mat is the ultimate presence detector. Presence sensors are always used for swing side safety because they must monitor the area that the door moves through, and motion detectors can lose a person if they remain motionless in the path of the door, which would allow the door to close on them. Without a lockout provision, a user would have to wait for the door to fully close before it could be reactivated because the overhead, header-mounted sensor will always see the door during the closing cycle. To counteract this inconvenience, we must assume the safety signal that the control sees from the time that the door is released until it closes fully is the door, and can therefore be safely recycled during this period. To provide the control with this information, it is necessary to adjust the lockout timer so that the orange lockout light, which illuminates upon release to close, stays on until the door reaches the fully closed position, which clears the sensor zone. Adjusting the lockout timer. Closing speed should already be adjusted to ANSI standards for your application. If closing speed is adjusted, it will be necessary to readjust lockout timer. Turn lockout potentiometer fully counterclockwise and then activate door. Notice that the lockout LED flashes briefly. Turn the lockout potentiometer about 1/8 turn and activate the door. Observe where the door is in the closing cycle and adjust by trial and error until the lockout LED goes out when the door reaches the fully closed position. This timer is also used to time other features available with the C04190 control. If soft touch is enabled and the control senses that the door has stopped closing before the lockout timer LED has expired, it will cause a recycle and the door will power back open. A third function of the lockout timer is that it controls the timing sequence of the unlock terminal that is used for strike interfaces and the use of sensors in the knowing act mode.